Very good evening, everybody. My name is Radhika Ramani, and I head Motivator for the South. On behalf of the Bangalore Adclub, a big warm welcome to all of you. Today's webinar is about a story of how simplicity and nostalgia trumped the new age and the shiner. A story about how innovation is about anthropology and not really technology. A story about Carvaan. To talk about this, I have the pleasure of introducing a good friend, Vikram Mehra. If you do not know him already, Vikram is the MD of the Saregama India Limited, India's oldest music label and the youngest movie studio. He's also on the board of the Indian Performing Right Society Limited and the chairman of the Indian music industry. Before I hand it over to Vikram, a couple of basic ground rules. I just wanted to say that if you have trouble logging onto Zoom, remember that we are streaming this live on the Bangalore Adclub Facebook page. So you can go there and watch this too. And whatever questions you have, please do type it in the chat window, and we'll make sure that we cover this during the session or the end of the session. So Vikram, I hand it over to you.
Thanks, Radhika. Good afternoon, everyone. Radhika was mentioning what's the story about. If you ask me, it's a story of, Carvaan is a story of you take the risk of failure out. If you're not scared to move on the path which most likely would have resulted into failure, so much can be done in life. Let me start. Today, everybody talks about Carvaan being a great success, out-of-box idea, blah, blah, blah. When the first time I proposed the idea of Carvaan internally and to investors, Saregama is a listed company both on stock, BSE as well as NSE. When for the first time this idea was floated, there were enough number of skeptics all around. In my own system, outside the system, analyst, investor, consultants, everybody had an issue. In fact, to the extent that someone actually commented, someone very senior in my system, outside my company, that we have spent so much money and got this so said digital MD who is taking the company backwards by another 10 years by launching a physical product. And that's what me and my team were facing at the time when we decided to launch this product. So this is a story of some craziness that we people did. And I like to believe right now we came winning. It's also the story of something I very, very dearly believe. Innovation. And innovation is not necessarily the great product innovations or service innovation. Any new idea, for it to come up, you need to be close to the customer. We often start thinking right now that to come up with a new idea, we need to be aware of the latest technology. Technology is the means. In order to finally go out there and delight the customer, technology will help to give you the solution to delight the customer. But you should, for goddamn sake, know how to please the customer. If you don't know your customer, what will technology do in that? So let's not ever confuse right now that the latest innovations are coming out of somebody's coming out with the latest high-tech stuff. By that logic, there are lots of great, cool products that have been launched in the last decade or so, which should have been a massive hit. They are not, because maybe they were not based on the deepest consumer insight. Carvaan is a straight example that if you base your product on a deep customer insight, even if it's not regarded as the most high-tech product, you may still have a winner coming your way. Quick background, Saregama is a 115-year-old company. We used to operate as HMB at one time. Practically every song in the history of India recorded across all languages, from Hindi to Tamil to Kannada to Telugu to Bhojpuri, Punjabi, Assamese, Gujarati, everything. From 1903 till 1980, practically everything is ours. And after that, also, we have a large enough catalog. Over the last 15, 20 years, we were going a bit slow. But our strength is our catalog. We own about 120,000 songs. To give a perspective, a movie has 5 songs. So if a music label ends up buying rights of 100 movies come music, they get 500 songs. They do it across 5 languages. They get 2,500 songs in a year. Decade mate will take 25,000 songs. To get 100,000 songs to be done, you need 40 years. So that's the strength of the library. Uh, so everything looks great right now. You have the greatest Kishore and Asha and Lata and Jagdeep Singh classics sitting out there in the Saregama library. But the music was not moving. This is early 2015 when we were doing our own internal analysis. And we realized right now, our music was not moving, was not giving us the dividend. And the general feedback which is coming from the market, which is all armchair consultants telling us nobody wants to listen to music, old music any longer. Who wants to listen to Kishore Kumar and Asha Bhosle? And for someone like me, who even now for me, the only sense of relaxation is usually a glass in my hand and listening to Kishore and Rafi music. It was a shocking part that has that entire generation of people changed so dramatically that they don't want to listen to the music that they grew up with. So we went out there, started meeting customers, and the customers started giving us a diametrically opposite feedback. We did this study in 23 cities across India. There are cases right now where people actually charged us that you Saregama people are full of yourself. You guys are hoarding the national heritage. You listen just because you own the music doesn't mean you'll not put the music out. They started accusing us of not releasing the music. And here we were shocked. We had put up our music on all the three major streaming applications of that time. My primary audience, remember, was the people who were age of 35, 40. That audience was coming back and telling us that you don't release your music. So on one side, customer was saying that you don't release the music, I can't consume it. On the other side, as a company, we are looking at right now, we have a music, we are putting it on all the relevant apps here. CD world was dead by that time, but nobody is buying our music, nobody is listening to my music. So how do I make money? This is a reality which was facing us in 2050. And that's the time we took a tough call that we will not believe in every armchair consultant who was telling us that, listen, if you want to go back and make Saregama big, the only solution at that time, according to them, was get newer music in. I'm not challenging it. I think new music is very important when I want to talk to an 18-year-old or a 21-year-old. But that's not a solution to older music not doing well. According to the experts that were coming in, that there is no case for older music any longer in today's world. Now, if you ask me, if you go to US, a Simon and Garfunkel, which precedes even my birth, is still popular music. A Billy Joel is still heard. Michael Jackson is still huge. Bob Marley is still massive. How is it that that world is very happy listening to their music and we were not? So it was just not making sense to me. When we started probing our customer deeper, we started realizing out here that a trend started coming out that people were very, very apprehensive and uncomfortable using apps to consume content. Now, before all of you go up in arms, this is the world right now which is beyond Bombay, Bangalore, Delhi, Calcutta of the world. People working in media agencies, creative agencies, marketing outfits, the top white-collared world, I'm going to keep it out. You're talking of an average Joe living in a Lucknow or a Kanpur or a Ujjain or a Warangal. Let's talk about that individual. That individual above the age of, and this is all above the age of 35, 38, 40, even more. People started saying this, that we use our phone prime apart from talking for WhatsApp, Facebook, maybe at times YouTube. We are not going beyond that. We started asking him more, what's your problem? Why are you not using these streaming applications? And their response was, listen, it's too complicated. We don't know if we press a button, what may go back and happen. We may get charged out here. Third, the app wants you an intervention from your side very, very often. And this generation, and I am part of that generation, finds it very, very inconvenient. Somebody said it in one of the focus groups that I was taking, and I often quote this story. कि I'll say it in Hindi the way this customer told me कि हमारा ज़माना अच्छा था यार, वो डेट पे बाहर जाया करते थे तो वो वेटर हमसे सिर्फ इतना पूछता था, सब गर्म लेंगे या ठंडा, उसके आगे कोई सवाल नहीं होता था। अभी गर्म ठंडा के बाद अगर आप बोलो कि कॉफी, then the waiter is going to ask you right now, what kind of coffee are you going to have? Decaffeinated? Are we going to have Americano right now? Are we going to have espresso? Sorry, I don't want to make these many choices in my life. I'm making enough choices on my day-to-day basis to decide which job I want. On the job front also, I'm taking control in my hand and taking decisions. At the end of the day, when I want to go back and listen to my music, please don't ask me after every 3 minutes, which song do you want to hear next? Or expect me to forward the ad which is coming in by doing a skip ad. I don't want that experience coming in. That's what the customer was saying. In fact, there were literal nostalgia about our lady in Kanpur said that हमारा ज़माना अच्छा था. वो she was talking about 70. वो मॉर्निंग में मैं एफएम मीडियम वेव ऑन कर दिया करती थी. मीडियम वेव पे गाने बजते रहते थे. उसी के साथ खाना बनता था. उसी के साथ ये चाय पी के ऑफिस चले जाते थे. बच्चे जब लौट कर आते थे तो उसी पे ही उनका खाना चलता रहता था. शाम की चाय तक रेडियो हमारे घर में ऑन रहता था. ओनली जब वो टीवी शाम को खुलता था तब हम रेडियो बंद किया करते थे. And the amazing part for them was they had to do nothing. Something was going in the background. All of you who are there in your 40s and 50s and 60s on this call are going to relate to this experience when we were younger. That's how music used to be at our homes. There is, after an age, this simplicity which was there in that age is a simplicity many of us want back in our life. There are aspects right now which I want to control, but I don't want to control every aspect of my life. My 20-year-old eldest son right now, he wants to control every aspect of his life. I don't at my age. So for me, it's beyond, after age right now, and many aspects of my life, I prefer convenience over control. I want the old world radio experience in the context of Carvaan that we are talking about. What was the old world experience? There was convenience. एक बार radio on कर दो, music used to play. I am looking forward to that. I also look forward to the surprise factor. Nobody knew that next, which will be the next song. वो कुछ तो चाहती थी झुमरी तलैया से या रिक्वेस्ट आई है फलानों की चिट्ठी आई है ये गाना बजाइए. That used to be the wow factor, which suddenly, because of which one used to get introduced to a song that one has not heard for maybe 10, 20 years. Today, we want to control, a 21-year wants to control which song to hear next. But there is some amount of fun right now in that old world radio experience also. The new way age streaming experience is diametrically opposite of that. There is a market for both of the crowd. We believe that the customer who is the primary consumer for Saregama music, Jagjit, Kishore, Asha, Lata, Rafi, Manna Days of the world, MS Subbalakshmi of the world right now, for them, convenience was more important. And we went out there and took up lunch. And that's the birth of this product called Carvaan. It's a physical product in a world where everything is supposedly moving to digital. We went to digital because customers like that fact. But if the customers want the simplicity, which can be given to them in any other format, that will also work. And Carvaan goes out and proves this. What is Carvaan? In a very simple fashion, right? It's the simplest product maybe I've ever worked with. It's nothing but right now on a storage space, you put 5,000 preloaded songs, attach speakers along with that, and giving it the old world simplicity where all the buttons are physical touch buttons. Because the fine motor skills start suffering right now after an age group. There are lots of people in their 50s and 60s who came back and told me that on phone वो मजा नहीं आता है जो पहले button push करने में आया करता था. Hence the call has been taken out here right now that every button out here is the old world button, so that people get that comfort that if they pressed a button, they know it has been pressed. The entire ethos of Carvaan is lean back listening experience. We don't want our customer to go back and after every 3 minutes decide which song are they going to hear next. That's why the songs out here have been put right now in a random fashion. If you put two Carvaans, both of them are tuned to Kishore Kumar, nobody in Saregama can also predict which songs are going to be playing right now on both these Carvaans. Because the randomizer works on the logic right now, which takes the unique number of that Carvaan plus the timestamp and uses these two inputs, which are always going to be different right now, to come out with a random number on the basis of which a song gets played. There's enough amount of digital stuff, but all that digital stuff out here is sitting inside Carvaan. And that's another point I want to make here, another strong belief. In marketing books, in our management schools, at least in the initial stages of your grooming in corporate world, they teach you that positioning is about what you want to be. They tell you strategy is about what you want to do. Nothing wrong with it. But I have an equally strong school of thought says Positioning also means what you are not. Strategy also means what you're not going to do. And I think it's very important when you start formulating the positioning of your product or the strategic roadmap right now for your product or your company, you need to ask that tough question to yourself and your mates. What will you not do? What will you not be for the customer? Carvaan is not a product designed for a 27-year-old. We make no pretense about the fact right now that we are not talking to 27, 28-year-olds at all. Why should I give them features which when I know the product is not designed for them? And that's a biggest challenge. If you ask me, the challenges apart from selling the idea internally was that I was working with a team which was very, very young at Saregama. Everything in, by the way, in Carvaan has been designed in-house. Everything. Apart from production, we have to go out there to a manufacturer. Every part of it, the design of it, the internal UI of it, all done within the company. So here there are 25, 26-year-olds whom I'm expecting to design product for a 50-year-old. Was a challenge. They wanted to get the cool technology in. We people, the older crowd was trying to get that out, saying, if you want this product to be there for a 40-year-old, give things right now which make sense to that 40-year-old. They may seem dated to a 27-year-old, doesn't matter. Your product is not targeted at them. That's one of the success reasons behind Carvaan. The song selection. Is it a random song selection which has gone out there in this Carvaan? We put 5,000 songs, but these 5,000 songs have not come randomly. Every time a song of Saregama gets utilized anywhere in the world, that comes back and hits my data engine. On an average, we get 5,000 crore data points in a year, which tells us which song of mine is getting used where. All these 5,000 crore data points are thrown in, basis which we people have come out with the 5,000 songs. There's no individual involvement here. Those 5,000 songs have come back and told us what's the best, that data of 5,000 crore, what's the best way to go back and schedule which song should come in and how should the randomizer logic work. There are high-end predictive models which are working out there to decide that if a song X is going on, what's the best song that can come after X, but in a fashion that it's random. That it should never happen right now. These two songs always come in sequence. All that is going inside this. So there is enough amount of digital which has gone in. To the customer, it's the simplicity of physical that she or he sees. Then the other big challenge. All of you have got parents above the age of 60. I have a 77-year-old dad, and I'm facing this repeatedly with him for last 15 years now. In India, the moment our parents retire or we will retire, one of the big changes that happens in life is people stop spending money on themselves. You ask any retired mom and dad, they will all go back and say they spend money only on medicine or they will spend money on their grandchildren. They somehow suddenly get into this entire mindset of 60s and 70s of India, because that's the time they started their careers. Then money is always at a shortage out here. We should conserve money now, not spend money too much. They literally start moving to the vanaprasth from the age of 60 itself. That's not how it happens in America. People, the moment they get retired right now, whatever their means are, they first go out there and start taking holidays that they've never taken in their life earlier. So they're different. And we have to appreciate we Indians are the way we Indians are. So you have a challenge. A large segment of my customer base for Carvaan is sitting above the age of 60. If I know they're not going to spend money on themselves, how do I go back and sell the Carvaan to them? So there are two things we did. The first part we have done right now, that we realize that to every customer, because Hindu and Islamic philosophy tells you indulgence is bad. Abstinence is great, indulgence is bad. That's how we have grown up. So what do we need? We always need a rational justification for a pure indulgence. A lot of brands have done a great job of it, but when I'm going out there and buying an expensive car, I'm still trying to see, right, tell myself, isliye le raha hu kyunki uska average acha hai. Nothing but rational justification going on. We often look for the rational justification. We realize right now in this product also, we will have to give some kind of a rational justification. Hence the need right now to put Bluetooth and USB in it. A typical 65-year-old doesn't need that. But this is a rational justification that whenever grandchildren are going to come in and they want to listen to their English music or they want to listen to the latest music, you will also have another speaker at home so that they can stream the music from their phones. because most grandparents don't have. They have the old music systems which used to work on CDs. They don't have standalone good quality Bluetooth speakers. That's what we. That's the reason why Bluetooth and USB has come in. So every feature you're going to see of Carvaan right now, it has either from day one or evolved based on some strong customer insight. And what do we have? This is the product portfolio we have currently. You have the basic Carvaan. You have Carvaan, which we launched with Harman and Kardon. There are smaller Carvaan, which we call Carvaan Mini. And then this Carvaan Go, which is nothing but Carvaan meets the iPod philosophy. So whatever the customer need is, there is a product for each of them. Today, if I see Carvaan positioning, what are the 4 pillars on which Carvaan is standing? The target segment is clear, sharp that you're talking of. You talk practically to the 40 plus age group. You don't try to talk to the younger crowd. All our advertising, our product functionality, all is looking at 40 plus. The functional payoff that you people are giving is the convenience of listening to music. Asha Tai's song or Lata Didi's music is pirated all across. We can't control it. So I can't sell you music because you can get it anywhere. I can sell you the convenience of accessing that music in high fidelity without any advertising. What's the emotional payoff I'm giving you right now is nostalgia. This is another big customer insight. Let's see how many of you guys relate to it. I'll give you my example. Every time Mukaddar Ka Sikandar used to be a big Amitabh Bachchan movie. I must have seen this movie in the hall. I don't know how many times my mom and dad took it. Clearly above half a dozen times in the hall. For me, every time I listen to Rote Hue Aate Hain Saab, for me, it's my young age that comes back to me. For me, I'm a 49-year-old man, and I feel like standing up on my chair immediately right now and singing along the way I used to do it when I was an 8 or a 9-year-old. And what I was doing with my mom and dad all comes gushing back. Similar memories are there right now on movies that you may have gone out and seen with your boyfriend or the girlfriend to some time. Your first movie out, you're outing with people who were near and dear to you. Music has that angle. Every time you hear songs that were important part of your growing up years, ensure right now that all those memories come back to you. What we are trying to sell through Carvaan is that nostalgia. Because for your parents, you can give them lots of stuff, but they're primarily going to be all of functional value. How do I give them something which is going to be unique? And the most unique thing you can give to anybody, especially people of that age group, is give them the memories, the great memories of their early age. That's why the entire concept of Carvaan has been packaged in nostalgia. The design of Carvaan, we could have made it a very high-tech looking product, but we decided right now it has to go back and resemble the transistors that used to be there at that time when this generation was growing up. And the overall positioning, the tonality that we people are using all across is very premium because we need to charge a premium for the product. The last big leg of this, gifting. So one part of that people who are old are not going to spend on themselves was put some rational justification. Second, give it a complete spin. Make the younger people gift it to the older people. Because that's another issue. If you see America, from the time I remember watching Hollywood movies, the concept was always being shown in media. We have grown up that in America, every time people on Thanksgiving and Christmas, you go home and take gift for your family. It was less in India because we were living in joint families. Over the last decades or 2 decades, more and more people are living in nuclear families. And the idea of going back during Diwali or a New Year or Holi is very much there. And we are now realizing that as kids go back, they want to carry some gift for their parents. How long can you go back and keep on gifting the same tie and jacket and sari and shawl and casseroles for your parents or watches or phones? Carvaan makes it the perfect personal gift because it has nostalgia sitting in it right now completely. When I gave Carvaan to my dad, for him, he started listening to Dilip Kumar music. And for him, those days come back. Same story I've heard from multiple parents and children. That's why gifting started becoming a very important role in this entire Carvaan story. What's your net result? 2015, 14 end when I joined the company, I was told nobody wants to pay for music in India. It was reality. Music industry was literally sitting at pretty low, world over also, India also. And the general feeling was customer will not pay for music. Everything is available on internet now. Where do we sit today? 2 million units of Carvaan was sold as of January 2020. The total amount of paid subscriptions of all the streaming apps in India, the biggest names that you know right now included, is less than 1 million in India. How much does a streaming app charge you? Practically, at this juncture, if I look at right now, less than 50 cents per month. How much is Carvaan charging you? $100. You have people paying at $100 closer to $7,000 for 2 million units, while people are not ready to pay. Not even a million people are ready to pay 30, $35 per month for streaming content. I don't need to sell the story beyond that across to you guys. If you find your right target segment, you position the product correctly, there is money to be made everywhere. And the other of my favorite comments here, everybody in this country wants to run after the youngsters. Yes, it's a very, very big customer base. But guys, it's a great story there. And I'm not running away from that story. I'm also fighting that story by making movies talking to that segment and buying music for that segment. But never take your eye off this 40 plus age group. क्योंकि 20 साल के लोग लुखे होते हैं, करियर स्टार्ट किया हुआ होता है, वो कुछ लोगों को छोड़ दो जो IIM से आते हैं. Majority of the people don't have too much money in their pockets. But by the time you're age of 40, people like me also start making decent amount of money. That's if you can go back and attack that customer segment, there is money to be made. And very few brands outside insurance of the world right now or mutual funds of the world are going and attacking that segment. I think there's serious money to be made because that's the time you're ready to spend money on yourself. It's an important story right now, which according to me, more brands should be following. So what are we doing now? Are we happy with where people have arrived? No. The product journey right now, we understand Carvaan is not a perennial story. A physically loaded product, a physical product with preloaded music will have an end shelf life. How do we take it forward? And hence a journey started around a year back. How do we move it from a product to a platform? With the eventual goal, can I build a community of 40 plus people in this country? 40 plus music loving people in this country. Our first big change we are doing right now is move Carvaan from a product to a platform. What's the difference? Carvaan, the way you know it right now, comes with preloaded music. Preloaded music, all owned by Saregama, and you can't update this content. That's how we started. If you look at now, we are talking on not just preloaded, but the new generation of Carvaan, which was launched some time back, Carvaan 2.0, also supports streamed music. So your physical Carvaan will latch onto your home Wi-Fi. After that, this big round knob that you see on the top right, when you turn the knob, you will not only get preloaded music, but you will also start getting music which we are streaming to your Carvaan. You will not know the difference, whether it's coming from the hard disk or it's coming from a server. Once Carvaan has to be connected to your home Wi-Fi only once. Second, we will not just be giving music. We are now opening it up to podcast in a very big fashion. Third, we are saying we will not limit it to only Saregama owned music. Let third-party content also come in out here in a big way. We are opening it. That's a big difference between a product to a platform. Fourth, because this is the content we people are streaming, customer is not limited to the 5,000 songs that we are giving. We can go out there and update content on a daily basis with this customer. And the key part of this right now is this music meets podcast. What did Carvaan do? Carvaan made the access to music very convenient. With Carvaan 2.0, we want to make the access to podcast very convenient. Big guys, media guys in the world right now spending serious amount of focus on this word which sounds so high-tech called podcast. It's nothing but the Hawa Mahal of 1960s and 70s. It's audio content right now which is available on demand. We are trying to take the entire fear of technology, the phobia that podcast so beta mera kuch bolta hai, I don't know how to access it. These youngsters access this podcast. We want to take that away and want to make this concept of podcast so easy that anybody above the age of 70 also can turn the knob and get to his favorite podcast. We already have over 280 stations that we people have of podcasting sitting here. And the key part for us is as we open, these podcasts are not being developed only by Saregama. We have opened it to the entire wide world. So you have BBC also in it right now. You have Anupma Chopra's channel also sitting in it. You have Jaggi Vasudev also here. You have a whiskey appreciation podcast here. You have single parenting podcast here. You have podcasts, tons of podcasts on kids content. Your entire Bhagavad Gita also sitting there, your Ramayana also sitting out there, your Quran also sitting there. There is a lot of new content also sitting in here, all the new content that we are acquiring or somebody else wants to put it. There are 50 classical channels that we are giving here. So there's a channel dedicated to Pandit Jasraj, there's a channel dedicated to Saad Amjad Ali Khan and the works. Suddenly the content that the customer is getting has widened a lot. To the customer, he or she doesn't understand content is coming from the hard disk or content is coming from the Wi-Fi where Carvaan is connected. What we are offering to our partners is like YouTube, we are saying, what if in future when we run advertising on this content, whatever money we make, 40% of that right now is going to go back and get shared with our content partners. So we are opening this entire media economy in a very big fashion. We already have lots of brands who are reaching out to us and saying, can they take over podcasting stations? Which is a great idea. Just imagine a kids brand comes in and takes over a podcast where content is also provided by us, but the branding rights of that channel and advertising on that channel becomes that with the brand. So there are lots of possibilities that can happen. What will this do to Carvaan? Carvaan will become the digital, in a way, in a very crude fashion, the way a digital app for 40 plus people who are scared to use all this stuff right now on their phones with all the control, a very simplistic part, turn the knob, station starts for you. There's no other rocket science involved in it at any particular time. That's what we can go back and do. And 40 plus age group is a huge age group in India and outside India. How do we take it forward? We now have the India's first live housey going on a Carvaan. How does it work? The Carvaan 2.0, which supports Wi-Fi based streaming, we have RJs coming in right now on the hour. These are all appointment viewing, appointment listening. So they on the hour start announcing the numbers right now on their Carvaan. At this juncture, people can download the tickets out there on the Carvaan app and can, if as an RJ, I'm saying 3030, it's live. You mark it out there on your app live. And if you have won the top line right now, I will announce it live that Vikram Mehra has won, the top line is gone. Or Vikram Mehra is a big boogie. He marked a number right now which was not connected. What am I again doing here? Housey, Tambola are the nostalgia factors of people who were grown up right now in their 70s and 80s of this country. Every time one used to go out to clubs, Housey was the game to go back and play. So for people who are again in their 50s and 60s, 70s age group, for them it's a huge thing right now to pass their time. And it's already getting very popular. We are now extending Carvaan. These are all mock-ups here. None of these products are have been activated yet, because I'm talking to the creative agencies and media agencies here. But there are various ideas we people are working with. Can you go to brands and have branded Carvaans going in? So if Taj T wants to go back and own the classical space, I can get the biggest classical music of Pandit Ravi Shankars of the world to Pandit Jasraj. We own it all. Put it right now in a Carvaan mini, give it the shape and form of the brand. Or a similar example with Life Boy. You put some of the greatest songs right now that we people own of Kishore and Rafi, popular songs. And after every 5 or 10 songs, there's a message from Life Boy telling people why should they be washing their hands. All that stuff can go back and work. Or something similar can happen right now with booze companies. So there is lots that can be done, and we are expanding the concept of Carvaan right now in multiple spaces. In the same breath, we are saying right now, not that Carvaan has become this brand in a very short span of 3 years. It is a well-recognized brand with nostalgia factor and a premium factor going in. We have the next attempt we people have done right now is, can we take Carvaan into that digital space? So we have created a property called Carvaan Lounge, which is leveraging the nostalgia appeal of Carvaan to both the digital and the live properties. So we ask the modern age singers to reinterpret old classics that Saregama owns here in a kind of a Coke studio kind of a space. Let me see if this works for you to get an idea.
आज यादों की दराज खुली, पुराने खत मिले, कुछ दिल के टुकड़े मिले, वादे मिले, बीती मुलाकातें मिली, बहुत तलाशा मगर तुम ना मिले। प्यार का नगमा है, मौजों की रवानी है, जिंदगी और कुछ भी नहीं, तेरी मेरी कहानी है। एक लड़की भीगी भागी सी, सोती रातों में जागी सी, दिल एक अजनबी से कोई आगे न पीछे, तुम नहीं कहो ये कोई बात है, बात है, बात है।
So all this kind of stuff right now just extends the power of the brand Carvaan. Still sitting right now on the nostalgia value of the biggest classics that we people own, but going out there and extending it to the digital world, which we know is going to where the consumption is going to be done by relatively younger people, and hence the contemporary look and feel to this entire. So, and on each of these properties, we have done the first season was done with Amazon Prime as a sponsor for us. There's a sponsorship angle to this entire part. Uh, COVID put a stop to it. Otherwise, there was a complete live angle coming to it. Once this COVID problem goes away, we hope in 2021 we get the live angle to the same concerts. There is something which is planned in US in early next year, where the same Karma launch concept gets extended to those markets too, in terms of live. This is another property we people are now doing, which the first season was supposed to happen in March. We had to cancel 15 days before the launch. We are taking some of the biggest movies, music-related movies that have been launched in 70s, and turning them into Broadway kind of plays. So you will have live stuff going in. So Disco Dancer, the first movie, Curse is the second movie. We were planning to go out there and do 30 shows of these in the domes of the world in Bombay, and take it to Delhi, and take it to Bangalore, and take it to Ahmedabad. But all of this is sitting under the overall umbrella brand of Karma alone. So what happens is you have people listening to Karma. They want to go back and get the same experience of that music of Asha Tai going come music right now, and people dancing to it in a Broadway kind of a scenario right now. They can come and experience it here to the live venue. People who are coming to the live venue for the first time were not bought a Karma. They get exposed to this right now. High probability I may be able to convert them back into Karma. So the brand is now going out there trying to attack the customer from various angles, because in the end, we want to turn it from a product to a platform to a community of 40 plus music loving guys. Now, this is the latest thing which is going to be coming out. Hopefully now in the month of October, we are going ahead with this product. So let me give you a preview. So this is the karaoke. Once again, right now, apart from the 5,000 songs which are going to come burnt into it right now, you have the minus one tracks coming of thousands of additional songs with two mics coming in. You have a screen that comes out of Karma right now where lyrics are coming out. We believe in this world where, because of COVID-19, more and more people are going to be entertaining at home rather than going out. There may be a large enough market for a product like this. Once again, you are encashing nostalgia. In India, as Javed Akhtar Saab says this very often, in India, people don't listen to music. People sing along with the music. We are going out there and trying to encash that customer behavior. That will be the end of my presentation. All I can go back and tell you guys once again is, if you believe in something very, very strongly, go for it. The fear of failure stops many of us from doing things that we very, very passionately believe in. Every time that happens to you, you should ask yourself two questions. It becomes easier if you believe, like me, you believe there's only one life. If you don't do enough right now in this life, what are you doing things for? This is it. If you want to do it, something out here, do it. Otherwise, there's a chance you'll never come back. Second, a majority of our life right now goes in our work life. Fortunately, unfortunately, that's the way it is. So you better enjoy what you're working on, because if you really enjoy what you're working on and you take the fear of failure out, you can do wonders. Kya hoga if things go wrong also? Somebody's going to sack you. You can go out there and get a job at maybe 75% of that salary. The moment you take that part out, there is so much you can go back and do. And please, believing in yourself doesn't mean right now that you take blind risk. Even when we people play flash, how do we people work right now? There is a gut call. We analyze everybody else around us right now, who may be bluffing, who is not bluffing. We are taking a big risk out here, but still it's an intelligent risk. You will have to go back and do something similar in your life too. Thank you. Very open to any questions coming from your side. Yes, Radhika, tell me now.
There are a whole load of questions for you here. I think it was just kind of filling up when you were speaking.
Okay.
Just a couple. I'm just going to start to pick out a couple of questions here. So there's one which is by Renuka, asking whether Carvaan was a product-led marketing success story or marketing-led product success story.
I'll put it this way: is a customer insight-based product success story. And all the strategy awards that we people have won, it has won the Global Strategy Award also. It's all on the fact right now that we got the customer insight correct. And we believed in our understanding of the insight and went ahead. Product is nothing but a manifestation of what customer wanted from our side. We just kept it simple and stupid and got it right.
There is, how do you define your competition?
In this category right now, we actually have no competition. The conventional labels can't get into it because the music which is relevant to the 40 plus age group is all owned by us. So globally right now, unless some of the Western labels get into it in their own markets, in India, there is no competition. There are other people who have tried, but they have failed very, very miserably. First, they did not have the right content to pull it off. They had the newer content, and they started developing this product keeping in mind the younger age group. Sorry, a 21-year-old cannot be seen listening to music right now through a physical product. They want their devices, and we are very clear about it. We don't go in that space.
There is one which is a bit controversial for you. Don't you think Carvaan 2.0 takes away from the simplicity and beauty of the original?
So that's the part right now. That's the biggest challenge. And don't worry, we're working on Carvaan 3.0 also, where this question is becoming even more intense and bitterly fought in my company. 2.0, and that's a challenge. I'm ready to take inputs out here. Once Carvaan 2.0 gets connected to your Wi-Fi, which most of the time our people come to your home and do it, I challenge if anybody can tell me right now whether the song coming out is coming out of a server or is coming out of the hard disk. It's that seamless. To the customer, he or she is turning the knob. Currently, when you turn the knob, you move from Kishore Kumar to Asha Bhonsle. Now, after Asha Bhonsle, you may get up Ramayana or a Bhagavad Gita also coming in. And you don't like it, you turn the knob again, and it may jump back to maybe Javed Akhtar. Mm. So the simplicity is something right now we take very seriously. I believe we haven't. Time will tell.
Right. So there is... Isn't it true that there is very little profit to be made in streaming music, given royalties to label music publishers and other rights holders? So podcasting is the way to profitably grow for all music streaming players, including Saregama.
So we are digressing here, but let me answer this. See, you're confusing between the two guys. Streaming guys are different from content owners. So Ghana, Savan, Spotify, Apple of the world right now, they are the streaming companies. And Saregama, T-Series, Yashraj, Sony Music, they are the content owners. As a policy, at least with Saregama, I can tell you, we have no intention to launch a digital streaming app of ours. We are very happy providing our content to all other digital streaming applications. Now, you asked me a question whether digital streaming apps are profitable or not. Globally, if you check out Spotify numbers, Spotify valuation is going through the roof at this moment, right? Spotify has got over 100 million paid customers. In China, they are now touching 50 million of paid customers. Unfortunately, in India, the bigger streaming platforms, primary interest is to improve valuation. And those of you who understand the valuation game, valuation unfortunately is linked to monthly active user. So the focus of every streaming platform right now is to build the free business, because if you're going to allow the content free, more number of monthly active users are going to be there, rather than build a paid ecosystem. But with time, we all understand things are going to move to a paid ecosystem where everybody's going to make money. So if you are invested in any of the streaming platform, hold on to your investment. Eventually you'll make money.
So this question is from Udit Agnihotri. My question to you is how you managed to convince your counterparts to get them on board with you on this project before it became successful. That's actually quite an interesting one.
Now, so you need to define what counterparts. You're saying about how Carvaan, how did I convince the other guys? Should I read the question that way? How did I explain? The advantage of being the managing director is that you can bulldoze your way a bit. But let me understand what's the question. How did I get the complete technology accepted?
Get the complete technology accepted. I think that's kind of more.
Put it this way, right? See, one of the changes that we people did, rightfully or wrongfully, within 2 years of my joining, we changed 70% of the manpower at Saregama. We realized that I don't think as a company right now, we were correctly reading the market. Apart from the content experts, everybody else was changing the system, and which helped a lot. There are people who came with fresh ideas. They did not have the baggage of the past sitting out there with them. They were more amenable to this. Second, the moment as a senior manager, you go back and put your job at stake, people start believing. So as long as you give comfort to people that if things fail, nothing will going to happen to your job right now. The person will be fired will be you as an individual. I think that gives comfort to people that your skin is also in the game. Third, something I followed and I'll recommend many of you guys should follow post-COVID world. From 2005 till 2015, unfortunately I stopped doing now. Every month for this 11 years of my life, I have visited minimum 25 customer homes.
Right.
And this is across India. And most of my visits, I used to take other people also along with me. What that does is that it does not become only the senior manager's belief in customer insight. Once your team actually visits a customer home, talks to the granny and granddad and the lady of the house, perspectives change completely. And that's what happened in our organization also. All the skeptics in the beginning, many of them converted because of this. Eventually, everybody converted right now. The moment the sales started happening right now, we started getting accolades. There's no bigger motivator than success. And that's what happened in our organization.
Right. There was one interesting thing connected with the lockdown. So basically saying that the lockdown, so many children spend more time at home, returning to their hometowns, back to their parents. So many encouraging their parents to take up digital adoption, right? Enrolling them into online classes like yoga, exercise, hobby courses, etc. So while this is a far-fetched thought, do you think digital adoption in the older population and their use of online mediums could dull the sale of Carvaan in the long run?
It's possible. See, I'm not running away from that. You need to first understand heart in heart, Saregama is a company. When I talk as Saregama MD and not a proponent of Carvaan, we are a content IP company. We launched Carvaan in 2015 and 17 because people were not able to get hold of our music. Streaming applications. If everybody gets hold of our music through streaming applications, and for whatever reason Carvaan sales dulls down, we are okay with it. Because music we are getting paid. Every time my song is heard on any streaming application, I get money. For us, we are an IP company. Everything else comes secondary to it. But there's the first part of your question about how people sitting at home have to evolve. We are saying if Carvaan can go back and fill this need gap of a 40 plus age group customer who wants to consume entertainment in the most convenient fashion, I think then we have a play for Carvaan. I'm going to leave it because Carvaan 3.0 is all built on that. Some of the examples that you took right now, what customers are doing at their homes, may be fulfilled right now through Carvaan. So Carvaan is going to become a shorthand for convenience of access. The people, only line I can leave out here is, suppose my dad wants to go back and suddenly wants to learn something sitting at home at this juncture. and he goes out there and searches it on YouTube, on that topic, there will be 50 videos that will come up. Now, the onus is on my dad to find out which is the right video to listen to.
Correct.
Curation is a massive thing here. If somebody can curate at the click of a button, give the content that somebody older wants, I think there's a play.
So this was quite an interesting one. What came first? The insight of nostalgia to sell unused songs in a dabba, or to put unused songs in a dabba that could be sold on nostalgia?
No, nostalgia came later. So,
Nostalgia.
the first thing came was the insight. First came by the sales fact that we were not able to, we were not having very heavy consumption of our songs on streaming applications. That forced us out of a comfort zone to ask customer. The insight was customer wanted to listen to music, was finding access very difficult, and was waiting for the son and daughter to go back and create playlists for them or download songs on their phones. That's the insight. That's how Carvaan came up. That can I put all the songs together, give it to the customer, and make the access very simple. When we were doing it, the best way to market it was gifting and nostalgia.
Got it. There's another one. Okay, see, what would you call Saregama, the erstwhile HMV today? Is it a music company, a film studio, a product manufacturer, a media tech powerhouse? What is the next big offering?
So the only thing we are primarily a content IP company.
Content IP company.
Right. And content IP can be songs, which is HMV that you know, can be films, which we market under you or produce under Udly. And some of you may not know that we are the biggest content producer for Sun TV for last 20 years. Roja, which is the #1 Tamil show today or for last 6 months, is a Saregama show. The IP is owned by us. So we are playing across all the three spectrum here: audio, long format video, short format video.
Right. So this is one connected with Udly. The studio division of Saregama is now working on films in various regional languages. What is Saregama's focus like in the regional space? How do you see these films being received? Given the current scenario, would you look at a mixed launch or a pure OTT release?
There are multiple questions you have asked out here. Let me first say regional. I think we have of all the content owners right now in this country, I think we, as a Hindi, primarily a Bollywood content studio, we people are most focused on regional. Our focus is less on Hindi, in fact, both on audio, TV serials, and movie. We are investing heavily on Bhojpuri music, Punjabi music, Gujarati music, Tamil music, Carnatic music. We people are investing heavily. Our TV serials, the only language we have got out of Hindi TV serials completely. The only language if we make our TV serials are either Tamil or a little bit of Kannada. We are not there on Hindi side. On the movie side, we are playing across all languages. Our Udly philosophy is very, very clear that the language, the milieu has to be maintained. So if it's a story of a South Indian family, you can't make them speak in Hindi. Like we created a movie right now on the problem of bullying in boarding schools, premium boarding schools of India, the Doon and Sherwood Times right now. The language of that film is English. Only the swearing is in Hindi because that's how kids talk there. So usually we are clear that the milieu has to be kept in mind. But yes, we are making films in Tamil, Malayalam, Marathi in a big fashion right now. Kashmiri a film is sitting in there. And you will find a film coming out there in Bengali too. Regional is big for us. We believe that the next big movement is going to be happening. It's already happening, right? If you see music also, regional is seeing a big growth. You print, whenever print was still alive, the regionals were growing seeing a bigger growth coming in. Regional TV channels are growing pretty rapidly. So we believe right now the next big growth is going to come from regional. You'll see a lot of focus from our side.
I think, a lot of these questions, I think you've answered in your presentation. So we've got a lot of questions even before your presentation. So I'm just going to skip a few of these. Just one last one, which I'd kind of, probably go to. What are your key insights about seniors and elderly in the context of content music consumption, apart from convenience and nostalgia? Is there anything other than that?
So I don't know how do I answer this question directly. Let me give you another part. This is a study not done by us, done by various psychologists in US, where they had said that the music people listen when they are between 16 to 24, somebody says 26, is the music that stays with you throughout your life. Those are the most critical years of your life right now, because they are the carefree time, and music is really appreciated at that particular time. So if you go to a 70, 75-year-old person today, they will still, for them, new music means nothing. They will still go back to listen to the music of Dilip Kumar era or the music of a Raj Kapoor era, and they are very, very happy with it. And that's what keeps on. It's not that people have a problem with the newer music, but what is called in food, I'll give you an example. We all love going to great restaurants and eating great food, but there's the comfort we get from mom's food, and anybody who can make food similar to the food that your mom used to make when you were younger gives you a very different warmth and comfort. That's what music does for people. If they listen to the music that they heard when they were younger, it gives them a lot of comfort, and that's why they hold on to that music. And that's what we people go out there and capitalize on.
Got it. So Vikram, we kind of, run out of time right now. So I'm going to hand it over to Sneha right now. But thank you so much for this. I mean, it's been so insightful. And, I've kind of, spoken to you before. I know the story of Carvaan, but, this, every single time I listen to this, I mean, it gives me a new piece of insight. So thank you so much for this.
Pleasure. And all I'm going to tell people right now, listen, it's not all strawberries and cream. There are enough amount of stresses we have on Carvaan side also. You have COVID-19, retail network shuts off right now, Carvaan sales plummet. So no product, like no life is a perfect life. You go through stages of your life where life is looking absolutely perfect, and then big hiccups come in your life right now, and you don't even remember how great life was at one time, and then again life goes smooth. Same thing happens right now in its own way in product journey. We had a great first 2 years. The moment COVID-19 happened, everything has gone for a toss on Carvaan, because it's a brick and mortar retail model.
Yes, it's beautiful. Sneha?
Yes. Thanks, Radhika. Mr. Mehra, we spent 45 minutes listening to the Carvaan story, and your work is in my home. But in my home, it is not called Carvaan, it is called Maka Radio. So I'm showing this.
Thank you.
So that's the punchline at home. My 79-year-old mom starts her day and ends her day with your Carvaan. So I personally, I want to say that that's the technology she uses, and thank you for it. So great innovation. Wonderful insights. Really, really lovely listening to all of the insights that you brought out. Love the whole, the version 1, 2, and 3 bit. You talked about visiting, and I had read about it in a older interview of yours, that you do 25 homes a month, and I just love the fact that you started your presentation by saying no to armchair critics but customer insight. So that's really awesome. If you ever visit Bangalore, please come to this customer's home. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
So a big thank you to all of the people who put this together. As is customary, we want to thank our partners. So we have Bijoya ji and the entire Adclub team who's helped us reach out to a lot of people who've kind of logged in both in the webinar here and are watching on Facebook and all of that. There's Umanath and Vijay from Media News for You. A big thank you to them. There's Travel and team who's kind of put this together. Mr. Mehra, you'll be surprised to know that we've, while a lot of people are doing webinars, the Adclub Bangalore has done more than, I think, 15, 16 odd webinars, and there have been about 3,500 people who've logged in the past 3 odd months. So it's gaining a lot of traction, and people like you, we look up to listening to industry leaders like you. So thank you so much from me and from my entire set of the Adclub members and the Mancom committee at the Adclub Bangalore. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks. Thanks, Radhika. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.